Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Hitting Bags and Stealing Balls. Today is Thursday, April 24th, 2025, and we have another episode that I'm going to have to speed run through. Okay, again, I apologize. Easter Sunday really put me behind. So we'll be covering the 17th through the 21st today, and finally, I should be caught up with one more episode. Okay, and then the next episode, so you'll probably get that Sunday, okay? Because again, I'm trying to speed run through these. You'll get the stats, the standings, all that stuff will be back, okay? I'm sorry that the last three, including this one, haven't been that. They've just been getting through stuff fast, but I fell behind, and man, once you fall behind in baseball, it gets rough. So I'm really hoping to catch up here, and so I can start, sending out the content I really want to send out. And it's nice to keep you guys updated on the series, and you guys appreciate that, which I'm thankful for. But obviously, I want to just take that next step. I want you guys to know who's winning the divisions, which is a very important part of baseball. Which players are really crushing it. And so that's definitely coming back. Give me a couple more days, but we'll worry about Easter weekend in this episode. Again, the 17th through the 21st. I want to say thank you for tuning in. And, like, comment, subscribe. I've got a couple videos for you this episode. And we'll just go ahead and hopefully this will be around 20 minutes like the last couple ones have been. Maybe even faster if I make less mistakes. But let's go ahead and get into it. The Yankees would travel south to play a 4-game series on the road against the Rays in their own minor league ballpark, Steinbrenner Field. Yeah, baseball is weird. And both starting pitchers would disappoint, but Ben Rice's 4-hit game would propel the Yankees to a 6-3 victory in Game 1. In Game 2, the Yankees would have maybe their most boring of the season, but Carlos Rodon would have his best as he would throw 6 shutout innings, and the Yankees would win a close one, 1-0. Game 3 on Saturday would include a 3-hit and 3 RBI day from the man, the myth, the legend, Aaron Judge. But my gosh, quit sending Devin Williams out on that damn field. He blows it again. A 4-run lead in the 9th disappears, and the Rays would go on in the 10th to walk it off. Final score, 10-8 in Game 3. But Easter Sunday would see the Yankees bounce back and end the series on a good note as they would get the 4-0 victory behind Max Fried going 7 2/3 innings and not allowing a run, which seems to be what he likes to do best in pinstripes. Thank the heavens for Max Fried, because the rest of that pitching staff is not looking good so far. Also, Cody Bellinger hits his .420 home run for the 3rd straight year in a row. That's right. Cody Bellinger, who is a meme amongst baseball fans because he constantly looks high, has hit a home run on .420 for 3 straight years. You can't make it up. That's just baseball. But we'll go to the next series. The struggling Royals would travel to take on the first-place Tigers, and Game 1 would be all Tigers. 12 hits, 6 runs. Tigers win it 6-1, and Game 2 would actually be more of the same. 12 hits, 7 runs, and Jackson Jobe goes 5 innings not allowing a run as the Tigers win Game 2, 7-3. And my gosh, here comes Casey Mize, 7 innings pitched, 1 run allowed. Somebody give the Royals a hug, man. A 4-game series starts with 3 straight losses for the Royals as the Tigers take Game 3, 3-1. Now, could the Tigers finish off Easter weekend with a 4-game sweep? Surprisingly, no. The Royals would go on to win in the 10th with a 4-3 final to salvage the series. In a matchup between two teams that I really don't like, the Cardinals would travel to New York to take on the Mets in a 4-game series. And my God, does the Mets pitching know what they're doing? I mean, that was the biggest question mark for that entire team going into the season. The lineup was beautiful. What are the pitchers going to be? Well, yeah, the hitting's good. Pete Alonso is, arguably the best hitter in the National League right now. But the pitching, dude, I mean, if you couldn't tell by the way I'm talking, the Mets sweep the Cardinals in a 4-game series, okay? And they made it look rather easy. So all 4 games, it was 4-1, 5-4, 3-0, and 7-4. And the Mets get the sweep. And Francisco Lindor would hit his 250th home run of his career in walk-off fashion in Game 2 on Friday. Now, you may be wondering, which 2 teams is Matthew rooting for most in the National League? Well, or you just don't care, but you'll have your answer as the Diamondbacks would travel to the Windy City to face the Chicago Cubs. And Game 1 would not disappoint. Cubs score 5 in the 7th. The Diamondbacks score 10 in the 8th. But then the Cubs come right back a half inning later and score 6. 7 total home runs, including 2 grand slams, one by Ian Happ and one by Suarez. But the Cubs would be the ones that come out in Game 1 with a 13-11 victory. And unfortunately for baseball fans, the last 2 games of the series would not be as entertaining. Cubs take Game 2 6-2. And on Easter Sunday, the Diamondbacks would come back and prevent the sweep as they win it in the 11th. 3-2 final. The Pirates would host the Guardians in Pittsburgh, and in Game 1, both teams would hit. 25 total hits, 17 runs scored, but the Guardians would come out on top, 10-7. And in Game 2, Paul Skeens would take the mound. And he would only allow 2 runs across 7 innings like Paul Skeens does. But he would get 0 run support, which, who's surprised? That's what the Pirates do. And the Guardians would win Game 2, 3-0. And on Easter Sunday, Emmanuel Clase would prove that Devin Williams isn't the only elite closer that's struggling bad this season, as the Guardians would take a 3-run lead into the 9th, up 4-1, and he would blow it. He had given up 9 runs on 10 1/3 innings pitched after this game. Luckily, the Guardians would come back and score to take the lead and win it in the 10th inning 5-4 for the 3-game sweep on the road in Pittsburgh. 2 teams that have been performing way worse than expected would battle it out as the Twins would travel to Atlanta to face the Braves. And in Game 1, the Twins would go into the 8th with a 3-run lead before Griffin Jax would blow it. Braves win 6-4, and my gosh, is the back of the bullpen struggling. And this Easter weekend really gave the bullpens some run for their money, man. But we'll move on to Games 2 and 3. The Twins would bring out an opener in Game 2, which I'll go ahead and explain that for some of you that might not be big into baseball knowledge. An opener is basically somebody from the bullpen, okay, that comes in just to pitch 1 or 2 innings before then handing it to a starter or a long relief pitcher. And basically, it just meant to catch the offense, off guard. There's normally... It's kind of just to shake things up in the beginning so you get, used to seeing this pitcher for, one time through the lineup and then all of a sudden it changes. Because the thing in baseball is once guys see what you got, they can hit off of you a lot easier. And so that's why sometimes Carlos Rodon is a perfect example, okay, from the Yankees. Because the first 2 times through the lineup, so like the first 4 innings or so, lights out. Nobody can hit him. But then hitters start to see, how he's throwing his fastball. Where's his changeup landing? The spin rate, the speed, all that stuff. They'll start to pick up on it. And so a lot of times when you get to the 5th or 6th inning, that's why starters will start to get hit a lot more than they do in the early innings. So basically an opener is to try to prevent that. So you go in, one time through the lineup, they don't know what this guy's got, and then before they can start to see what he's got or learn what he's got, all of a sudden there's a new pitcher on the mound. But of course, this didn't work out for the Twins because the Twins' season so far is it's not great. So the Braves end up winning Game 2, 4-3. But the Braves wouldn't just win the first 2 games because on Easter Sunday, they'd come back and they'd get the sweep against the Minnesota Twins. Game 3 final, 6-2. Next up, the Marlins would travel to Philadelphia to take on the Phillies, and they'd pray to the baseball gods that they don't get swept. But in Game 1, Zach Wheeler would strike out 13 fish in 7 innings, and the Phillies would take Game 1 7-2. And in Game 2, the Marlins would come out in the 9th and score 6 runs. But it wouldn't matter, of course, because the Phillies had scored 11 runs on 18 hits, including 7 doubles and 5 stolen bases for the home team in Game 2, with an 11-10 final score. Game 3 would start with Jesus Luzardo facing his former team, as he would allow only 1 run across 7 innings, but the baseball gods were listening to the Miami Marlins, as they would go on in the 10th inning to win Game 3 and prevent the sweep with a final score of 7-5. Next up, the Blue Jays would welcome the Mariners into Toronto, and the Blue Jays would win a close game 3-1. But in Game 2, the game would finally end in extras, as the Mariners would get it done in the 12th inning with a 8-4 victory. And then in Game 3, the Mariners would end it before it even got started. They would score 6 runs off of Easton Lucas in the first 2 innings of the game and hold on to win 8-3 on Easter Sunday to take the series north of the border. And then the Reds would travel to Baltimore to take on the Orioles in a matchup where both teams are trying so hard to stay relevant this season. But in Game 1, it would be the Cincinnati Reds that get it done. Abbott would strike out 11 in 6 innings, only allowing 1 run, and the Reds would win Game 1 8-3. But in Game 2, Hunter Green would finally look beatable, as he would give up 5 runs in just 3 innings, and the Orioles would crush 5 home runs en route to a 9-5 victory. And then Easter Sunday would happen, and the Reds would have arguably their best game of the entire season thus far, as they would murder the Birds 24-2, and Charlie Morton would get his 5th loss on the season, which would lead Major League Baseball. The Reds take the series in Baltimore 2-1. Next up, the Sox would meet again, this time in Boston, and in Game 1, Trevor Story would go off. 3 for 4 with 2 home runs and 6 RBIs as he leads his team to a 10-3 victory in Game 1. Game 2 would see Garrett Crochet face his former team, and he would be excellent once again. 6 shutout innings as Boston would walk it off in the 10th for a 4-3 victory in Game 2. Game 3 would start with some costly errors by the White Sox, where Boston would score 4 runs in the first 2 innings, only one of them actually being earned, before Boston's bullpen would decide to blow it. Chicago would put up 6 runs late in the game to win 8-4 in Game 3. And on Monday, Chicago would fail to even the series as they would meet Walker Buehler on the mound, who would throw 7 innings, only allowing 1 run, and the Red Sox would take the final game 4-2. Now the last 2 World Series winners would face off, as the Rangers would host the Dodgers, and the pitching matchups in this one bring out the same emotions in me as a candy store brings out in a little kid, because my gosh, the pitching matchups are just a dream come true. Yamamoto and DeGrom both go 7 innings in Game 1, but LA would hold out to win 3-0. Before Roki Sasaki and Nathan Eovaldi would both go 6 innings pitched, allowing only 2 earned runs in Game 2. But Adolis Garcia would come up in the bottom of the 9th and give the Rangers the last laugh. Check this out.
Nobody out, bottom of the 9th. 1-1 from Yates. Is hit hard to deep left center field. Adolis Garcia with a walk-off home run. He was there to meet the moment every time the Rangers needed him during the championship run 2 years ago, and that's some of the magic that he brought 2 years ago right there. Walk-off home run for Adolis Garcia, the 5th of his career.
Oh, man, I love a good walk-off. That was beautiful. I mean, Garcia is a large man, so when he gets a hold of the ball, he often sends it a long ways. But, yeah, that was... Obviously, I've got some beef with the Dodgers, so I always love seeing stuff like that happen against them. But props to Garcia. That was just a beautiful hit. He got it right on the barrel, and he sent one out. So always love to see that. And then in Game 3, we would have Tyler Glasnow against Tyler Mahle. And Mahle would go 7 shutout innings. And Glasnow would go 4 shutout innings before a sore back would take him out of the start. But the Dodgers bullpen is just too much to handle. They would win 1-0 in Game 3 to take the series. The Nationals would travel to Colorado to take on the Rockies, and after Game 1 would get postponed, we'd see an absolute bloodbath in Game 2, as Chase Dollander would have his worst start of the season, and he would give up 9 runs, only 6 earned, but still, that's a lot, in just 4 innings, as James Wood would go 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs in the leadoff spot, and Dylan Cruz would finally start to click a month into the season, as he would go 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs and 4 runs scored. And then Mackenzie Gore would have a stellar start, as he would strike out 13 over just 6 innings. And the Nationals would go on to win Game 1, 12-11. And then the doubleheader on Sunday would be less interesting. They split the 2 games. Nationals would win Game 1 3-2 before the Rockies would win Game 2 3-1. The Astros would then win Game 1 as they welcomed the Padres into Houston, and Cam Smith would help them with that, as he would go 2 for 4 with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs. And the Astros would win Game 1 6-4. Game 2 would be close, but Josh Hader would end things with his 6th save of the season, and the Astros would take Game 2 3-2. Game 3 would have the same score, but it would be flipped, as Ranger Suarez would come out and get his 9th save of the season, and has now registered 11 scoreless innings so far, as the Padres win it 3-2 and salvage the series in Game 3. We've got 2 series left, and with the next one, we would see the A's go to battle with the Brewers in Milwaukee, and it would be the Brewers who take Game 1, 5-3. Before, the A's would come out in Game 2 behind 8 scoreless innings from Luis Severino before Mason Miller comes out and closes it, and the A's would win Game 2, 3-1. Game 3 would go as bad as it could for the A's, as they would absolutely get pummeled 14-1, and they would allow the Brewers to steal 9 bags, as Shea Langeliers has a game to forget behind the dish. He would commit 2 errors, allow those stolen bases, and then strike out 3 times in all of his plate appearances. Ouch. And the Brewers would take 2 out of the 3 games at home. A pitching duel would open the series between the Giants and Angels in Anaheim, as Logan Webb would strike out 12 over 6 innings pitched, but Tyler Anderson would just be a little bit better, as he wouldn't allow a run across 6 innings, and the Angels would hold on to win Game 1, 2-0. And then on Saturday, Mike Trout would come out with a 2-homer game. No surprise there. But unfortunately, it wouldn't matter, as the Giants would still hold on to win 3-2 in a close one. But then in Game 3 on Sunday, Justin Verlander would finally do his team some good with just 1 run allowed in 6 innings pitched. But unfortunately for the Giants, their bullpen decided to blow it, as they would take a 4-1 lead into the 9th before this happened. Joe Adele with the bases clearing double to walk things
Win this
off in Game
series.
3. And my gosh, Matt Chapman was close to jumping up and robbing that. But dude, again, you gotta love the walk-offs. Whether it's a home run, whether it's something electric like that. I mean, to be down 3 runs in the 9th and not give up, that was good for the Angels, man. They're definitely off to a decent
What a
start
swing
this
there.
season. We'll see how long they can keep that going.
He's hit breaking balls exceptionally well.
And Joe Adele drives in 3 to win it.
And that does it with this episode and with this series recap. I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll go ahead and we'll take a look at the final video, which was my favorite play of the week, and maybe the best catch yet this season. Okay, and It's from a pretty electric shortstop, so take a look. Yeah, Ellie De La Cruz is amazing, man. I mean, he's so tall and lengthy. The amount of reaction you got to have in order to catch that, because, I mean, that's right in the middle of the infield. Like, that ball, you probably have 2 seconds before that ball is on top of you. So for him to be able to react like that, to fully leap and stretch out for that catch, man, he does that a lot over the season, but I had to highlight that for sure.
I believe he can fly.
That's something that baseball fans should be excited
Oh, my goodness.
for. If you're getting into baseball, something that you should definitely enjoy watching. And so I'm sure that's not the last time you'll see an Ellie play on this podcast, but I wanted to highlight that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, no standings, none of that. I'm just trying to catch up. But I think we should be good after Monday, okay? So this is probably getting posted on Sunday. And then the next episode will be posted, the next 2 actually will be posted on Monday. And then the power rankings should be out by Tuesday. So I'm moving, guys. We're doing this, all right? I got you. Just like, comment, subscribe, share, let your friends know. Keep things moving, man. We're getting the season. We're a month down. It's exciting. I'm excited. And just stay tuned for these videos catching up. Thank you.